This is episode 519. And today we're going to be talking about raising your standards. Tony Robbins says that you get what you tolerate. So if you're not as successful as you like to be, your standards are probably too low. And this is just calling it like it is. If you're 20 pounds, if being 20 pounds overweight is acceptable to you, you're probably 20 pounds overweight. If living in your mom's basement is okay with you, then you're probably living there till you're 40. These are your standards. This is what's acceptable, and this is how you live your life. Now, if you can create a higher level of standards, you will rise up to that. So most people believe they're being reasonable or not being selfish when they set low standards. But you get what you tolerate in life. Having high standards is a way of respecting yourself and getting the most out of your life. Life will rarely give you more than you demand from it. So ensure you're demanding enough. And we're going to go over some of those here. But just think about it. Just think about where you are right now. And probably everything that you have in your life you're acceptable. It's okay. It's good. And that's not a bad thing because you're surviving. You're listening to podcasts. You're probably out doing stuff. But if you want to be more successful, where you are right now has to be not acceptable anymore. You have to expect more of yourself. You have to demand more of yourself. So what you can do is to raise your standards is identify one area in your life you'd like to change. Just one area. Of course, you could raise all of your values, all the areas. There's nothing wrong with that. However, your short-term success will be much greater if you focus your attention on a single part of your life. So when you look at it, it could be finance, it could be relationship, it could be career, it could be health, it could be anything, but just pick one area of your life that you'd like to change. When you change it, you then can go back to the other areas. Set a new minimum. So set a new floor. Set like, if it gets any lower like this, if you've listened to any of my podcasts or my videos on YouTube, I talk about this mental line of support and mental line of resistance. The mental line of support is where you've had enough. This is it. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to do something about it. Well, now you want to set a new one of those mental line of supports. So you want to set a new minimum. So let's imagine, for example, that you want to improve your finances. You might need new standards for your income, your rate of savings, and your spending. So all of these go into your finances. Take a look at all items that are related to the area of focus, whether it's finance, whether it's relationships, whether it's health and fitness, and set a new minimum for what you're willing to tolerate. This minimum has to be above what you're already tolerating, right? So you want to look at it and going, my finances. So begin making changes. New standards are the starting point. Now you have to make actual changes to your life and behavior to meet those new minimums. Think about it. Your behaving, your thought process and your actions are exactly equal to the results you're getting in all aspects of your life. So if you set a new minimum, then you're going to have to change your thinking. You're going to have to change your behavior. You're going to have to change your actions to reach that new minimum. If you need to increase your income to meet your new standard, it might be necessary to look for a new job or to create a business you can run on the side, right? So this is the finance part we talked about. If you want to have more, if you want to improve your finance, again, the things we had was income, you had your expenses, and you had your rate of return. So perhaps you need to look at investing in places that give you a higher rate of return. Perhaps you need to generate more income. Perhaps you need to look at how you can reduce or eliminate some of your spending. All of these adjustments have to be made to meet your new standards. So incorporate those, step number four here is incorporate those changes into your identity, who you are. Because we identify with who we are in life. We identify with the roles we play. We identify with the money we make. We identify with the physique we have. We identify. So we want to incorporate those changes into your identity. So you can force yourself to go to the gym a few times or to save an extra $200 each month, but it's not easy to make those changes stick, right? So we want to make something that's going to be stickable. So you have to believe that it's part of who you are. So basically act as if. If you, let's say we're making $200,000 this year and you want to make $300,000, how would a person making $300,000 act and act that way? It's going to feel uncomfortable and perhaps even phony in the beginning, but you have to act it. You want to be these changes need to come from your mindset that this is how a person who makes $300,000 a year thinks. This is a person who is fit and healthy thinks. This is how a person who's in a deep, meaningful relationship thinks. And start thinking those things so it becomes part of your identity as opposed to forcing yourself. Because if you force yourself to cut things that you actually really like Starbucks or something, if you're on a budget, you're going to do that for just so long and then you're going to go back to it. So we want to make these changes part of your identity, who you are. You want to make this unconsciously competent. Monitor yourself. So we have to look at what we're doing, tracking your results. I've talked about this before. So measure your progress and congratulate yourself for it. So we want to make sure that we measure. It doesn't matter how small the progress is. Make sure, because the race isn't over, you have your whole life to change this around. So even if you, let's say, you're at 200,000 and you want to make 300,000, and at the end of the first month, you made an additional $5. Hey, that's an additional $5. You multiply that the next month, that's 10, 20. So you want to be able to measure your progress and congratulate yourself on the progress, not how much more you have to go. Give yourself verbal rewards. Give yourself high fives, pat on the backs. Just really make sure you acknowledge it so this can become embedded, this behavior and results can become embedded into your unconscious. Jump up and down and smile. Do whatever it takes, but make sure that you congratulate yourself on making this progress. Ensure you're enjoying your progress, right? We want to make sure that this is fun, because if it's not fun, it's soon going to wear off and you're going to stop doing it. So make sure your progress is fun. Make sure that you're having a good time with it. Make sure that when you get the results, you're rewarding yourself, somehow, not maybe extravagantly, but just make sure that you are acknowledging the work and the success. You'll be more likely to stick with the changes you're making if you acknowledge them, if you celebrate them, and if you incorporate them into your unconscious. Number 6, keep going. You'll probably raise your standards many times over life. So you just want to keep going. You want to know that when you get to that new standard, you set a new standard. And actually, I recommend when you're 90% to your new standard. So again, if you're making 200,000, you want to make 300,000. When you get to about 290,000, 280,000, you set a new standard. So it'll push you past that 300. So you want to keep raising it. Pick a new area of your life to address and go for it. Once you get your 300,000, you can either keep going with that or pause at 300,000 and go now for health and fitness, go for relationship, go for something else. Keep the momentum going. You're turning yourself into more of a successful person with each iteration. So we have this, we're a multifaceted person, right? You look at the wheel of life or some other aspects. We have the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the financial, all of that. We can continue to expand our, quote, success, or continue to expand our standards in each of those areas of our life. So raising your standards is the first step to improving the quality of your life. Most people don't consider their standards at all. They don't mean, what do you mean by standards? Well, you live in your standards, or have standards that are far too low to live the type of life they really desire. It's like, oh, I wish I could do this. You ask people what they wish for, and their standards are far below what they wish for, but they won't take the action to do that. So we want to make sure that your wishes you can turn your wishes into reality, and this is by raising your standards. Demand more from yourself, the people around you, and from life. Don't let yourself slack off. Demand more. Be excellent. Be critical with yourself, because you are more powerful than you think. You have more in you than you think. You can get more accomplished than you think. So demand more of yourself. You'll struggle to receive more than you're willing to tolerate, right? We want to make sure that you're tolerating exactly where you want to be. For more information on this podcast, or even these show notes, right? I got some show notes on the site you can take a look at. Or if you'd like some coaching around these, how to raise your standards, you can visit at warriormindcoach.com for more information. Or if you'd like to request a introductory consultation, scroll down to the bottom of the main page and you'll see a banner there where you can do so. Also, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.